I finally decided to pick up where I left off with Gran Turismo 7 about a year ago. You guys remember this game? You know, the highly anticipated return to form for the series launching on the PS5. This was one of my most anticipated games. I had bought a PS5 for this game. I wanted to make sure I had a PS5 on launch day for this game so bad that I went through a scalper on eBay. And I was also able to eventually place an order on Walmart for one. So on the launch day for this game, I had FedEx knocking on my door with my PS5, and it worked out because a friend got one. But after all of the drama and controversy surrounding this game, I pretty much dropped it since my last video that I did on this about a year ago, where I was talking about the online connection in the game and how nobody was able to play this game at the time because they were locked out of it. They had this period where they were doing server maintenance, and it rendered the game almost completely unplayable outside of the offline mode. Let's start this video talking about that and addressing the elephant in the room, because a year later, that's probably still one of the biggest problems with this game. Because if you go into your PS5 settings and you turn that internet connection off, you're still greeted with nothing in this game. It's like being locked out of your house without the keys. An online connection being forced in this game is like forcing you to have an online connection for Animal Crossing so they can change the prices of the furniture whenever they want. It makes absolutely no sense. But here's the biggest problem with the online connection in this game, is that this is going to render the game completely useless in the future if they don't support the servers indefinitely, which obviously they're not, or unless they release an offline patch that makes the game completely playable offline, which they're probably not going to do. So all of that progress you made, all of those cars that you've customized, it's all going to be probably gone in 10 years when they shut the game down. I think the only way this game is going to be saved and preserved in its current state is if somebody can figure out a way to do like some kind of an offline crack for this game and make it to where it's played on emulators in the future. I don't see how that's going to work though when the online connection is so integral to that. I don't know how they're going to reverse engineer that data, but hopefully they figure it out, because if you want to see Gran Turismo 7 in the future when the servers are no longer operable, that's going to be the only way. But let's talk about what it's like to play Gran Turismo 7 in its current state, assuming you have a good stable online connection and whatnot, because maybe you're getting the itch to play some Gran Turismo and you passed on this because of all the drama, and now you're like, well, now I can pick it up and play it. Let's see what it's about. Maybe you're considering playing this or playing an older title. So let's talk about the progression when it comes to Gran Turismo 7, because it's a little bit different. So this game has the Gran Turismo Cafe, where you have these menu books where you do a series of missions to unlock specific cars. You're collecting cars, and the game's going to kind of give you a brief history rundown of all of the cars in its class. You do this for different manufacturers, different car type. Maybe you do this for some of the features in the game, and you're going through all of these menu books from the cafe, and this is your story progression. Typically in a classic Gran Turismo title, you take 10 grand and you go pick out a used car, and you kind of do the game how you want to. You kind of pick and choose what races you want, what licenses you unlock, and this is kind of how your progression is made throughout the game. It's kind of like an RPG, you know, you kind of pick how you want to play it. But in Gran Turismo 7, because of the way they've designed these cafe books, your progression is kind of linear. You're kind of forced to play with certain cars and do certain challenges in a certain order. The game kind of tells you, all right, this is when you're going to do this tournament, and now you have to get this license to do this tournament to progress in the cafe book. The problem is you're collecting cars through these cafe books as you progress through the story, and you might end up with the same car 3 times because maybe you bought the car from the used car dealership because you wanted to play with it. Well, now you got to get it for this certain part of the story. And you got these roulette tickets that you get for completing cafe books where you get a random prize. It might be cash or it might be a car. You might unlock the car through the roulette ticket. I ended up getting the E46 M3 3 times because I got it through a random roulette ticket. I bought it in the used car dealership, and I got it through collecting it in the story mode. So it becomes a little redundant, and it makes some of the cars feel kind of pointless to buy, because it's like, well, why would I even buy the car if I'm gonna unlock it through the story? You know what I mean? Another big problem with the cars in the game, a huge glaring oversight, or maybe it wasn't an oversight, was that you couldn't sell cars in the game. I don't know if you guys remember this one either, but there was literally no way to sell the cars in your collection. And for me, there still isn't, because you got to be like level 30 in the menu books to unlock the ability to sell cars now, because they did update it because of all the backlash. But you have to grind this game for hours and hours and hours to even get to that point, and I don't even know how far that is into the actual story. Maybe I'll have the game almost completed by the time I unlock this ability. I mean, I've literally been playing this for probably 4, 5, 6 hours, and that's on top of the gameplay that I did before I even stopped playing, and I still don't have the ability to sell cars, which kind of sucks. It really, really sucks, because I got like 4 of the same car. as previously mentioned. I also don't know what cars you can sell. I don't know if you can sell the cars you've collected through the story. I don't know if you can sell the roulette ticket cars. I'm not really sure how it works yet. When it comes to the Gran Turismo gameplay experience, though, the gameplay isn't completely linear. You can go out and do races on your own to earn cash. Some of the most fun I have out of Gran Turismo is taking a car, making it ridiculously fast, and then putting it in races it has no business being in. And you can do that here. You know, you take about a couple 100,000 credits, you go, you get a car, you modify it as fast as it can go, and then you take it into a tournament. And the single player does let you use modded cars, which is great. So you can take the cars that you've modded to progress through the single player story, and there's a lot of fun to be had in that. You can do ridiculous amounts of tuning on cars, change the suspension, change how other components work. You can add NOS to the cars still, so you're going into a tournament with nitrous oxide just blowing past other cars. Definitely reminded me a lot of Gran Turismo 4 in that aspect, and I had a lot of fun with that. Gran Turismo 7 still does a lot of cool stuff with the cars. You got community made liveries that you can download. You can watch other people's replays that they've uploaded to the community sharing thing. I was watching this dude take a Honda Fit and blow past RX-7s and GTRs, and that, again, that's one of the most fun things about Gran Turismo 7 to me, is just the ridiculous meme moments. And playing Gran Turismo 7 is like going through a car museum where you can see the in-depth history of every single car and every single manufacturer. I don't know if there's another racing game that just has this much information crammed into it about the cars and their racing pedigree. It's truly a beautiful celebration of cars. It really is cool stuff. If you're into cars, like if you just want to learn more about cars, you could just play this game. And that's the thing about the cafe books, is they kind of guide you through each sector of car culture and racing culture and racing history, and they want you to learn all about it. The progression just gets a little bit stale because they want you to do it their way, and it's like they've created these things that are so good, but they just force you to do things that maybe you don't want to do. Like, they added the ability to learn a track, and you can do each sector of a track and get a score based on your time for it. And there's a cafe book mission where they force you to do this for one track, and it's like, I don't really care about doing this, but okay. And then you realize you're still on menu book 26, and you got to go all the way to like 30 something to get to be able to sell cars. And also the weather effects and the driving experience of Gran Turismo 7 is really good. The cars are fun to drive. The DualSense haptic feedback is really cool. You can really feel when you're losing traction or you're slamming on your brakes and they're locking up. You can feel it through the triggers. As you're playing, the tracks will go from day to night. They'll get wet and rainy. You might be on the last lap of a race and now the track is soaking wet and it's really hard to control. And they've clearly put a lot of effort into the detail of the racing physics and stuff. And it's just really cool in general to be able to experience all of these cars in a way that you may never ever actually get to experience them. To be able to actually see the detailed interiors of all of these different cars and actually drive them and kind of see how they drive on the track. It is an experience that's good and it shouldn't be taken for granted. But then again, this is a $70 game that will eventually be a paperweight once the servers go offline. You will blow through credits fast, which I've quickly realized modifying a car. If I want to make the M3 go as fast as it can, I'm modding it and I'm going through like probably 300,000 credits like it's nothing. The game still encourages you to top up your credits. Anytime you see the credit screen, it gives you that little option to go click it and go spend some money. It's still kind of surprising to me that they don't sell roulette tickets, aka loot boxes. Maybe they figured they'd get too much backlash for that. Maybe in some countries they aren't allowed to do that. I don't know. But they clearly definitely want you to spend money on credits. Gran Turismo 7 is fun, man. There is a lot of fun to be had in this game. There are a few things that unfortunately sour the experience for me, but if you can get this game at a discount, you can get it on sale, which of course the game is a little older now, so of course it's always going on sale. It is fun to pick up. I wouldn't say that it's the best representation of this series. This is the best current Gran Turismo to play because it's the only current Gran Turismo to play. Outside of this, you got Gran Turismo Sport. So yeah, there is a lot of good in this, and there's a lot you can learn about cars from this, and there's a lot of fun to be had in it, but it does have just some stupid problems that didn't need to be there in the first place. I guess we'll just see where the future of this game goes from here, dude. What about you guys? If you picked this game up, have you seen how it's been progressing or degressing over time? Because I don't follow the updates. I haven't really paid any attention to this at all. I've been completely in the dark about it. I moved on with my life. I played other stuff and I just decided to pick it up recently because I got the itch. And outside of all the negativity, it is still pretty fun, but taper your expectations. Also, I do have a car channel you can go check out. It's mainly just cinematic car meet recap stuff, but I'm gonna do some other stuff with the cars I got and put it on the channel. You can go check that out. Also, more videos coming soon. Just let me know what you guys think of this, and see you in the next one. Later.